listen, you can tell because in the last few months, when the show comes on, there's somebody else been hogging the microphone. Mr. Sweet Pea, that wish he was out today. So listen, y'all, we getting back we going back to the old. We making straight up the middle great again. We going back to the old time where I get to just rant off to you. And I'm thrilled this morning to have none other than the great community activist and leader in our city, Robin Lockett from Florida Rising. Good morning, Robin. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
I did my best all week to come with a great list of topics, and you just blew them out the water when you walked in the room and just threw some other stuff on the table. But I'm glad that you're here with us because there are a lot of things happening, and I love having a different perspective. I know you're a fan favorite with a lot of our listeners, so your perspective is just a beautiful one to have. And if you listen to us on In Touch News, please also know that you can bounce over to Facebook if you want to see what we look like on the cameras. Jump over to Facebook, the In Touch News Facebook page, or go over to YouTube, In Touch News YouTube page. You can watch us as we talk. And of course, this show is really about your thoughts, your input. So please feel free to reach out and give us a call. The call-in number, write it down so that when you have a thought, you can get us 813-444-9588. Now, if you're listening, if you go over and watch us on Facebook or YouTube, you'll see that our number is also listed on the video right at the bottom of the page, so that you can catch us there. And so with that being said, let's jump in. I got a couple things right off the bat here. I heard some crazy news this week. And, there was a rumor that Florida is no longer a purple state, that is truly now a red state. And why I say that is the Republicans announced that they have more registered voters in the state of Florida than Democratic voters for the first time in history. Now, I'm being nice. That's a softball. I'm just going to toss it over to you. They're saying that they have more registered voters.
Facts.
And that is correct. About 4,000 for 6,000 now.
Yeah.
But is it also true that they got there with some shady mathematics?
No, when the Democrats were not registering, they were registering at a different. At one time we weren't because of the pandemic.
But I thought that they also got there by adopting the Georgia Secretary of State's model for how do you improve voting statistics by addition by subtraction. That they removed more Democratic voters from the rolls and thereby gave Republicans this appearance of having more registered voters by declaring Democrats inactive at I think it's a 2-to-1 ratio.
I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put that past them for doing that. But my mind doesn't work around the hypotheticals and so forth. If the fact is that they have more registers by whatever means they got them, the Democratic Party we have no messaging. We're in trouble. We're in real trouble.
So, well, first of all, I appreciate the honesty and openness. A lot of people just spew out, position, rhetoric, and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about a little bit about how we get to this point. You say there's no messaging. How do we get to this point? Is the Democratic Party in that much disarray in the state of Florida?
I think so. I think even with me being when I work in the community, people are not enthused about voting. They said, "Hey, young man, shaking his head now, right?"
Bezel. Mm-hmm. He's shaking his head because he didn't like my video. That's why he's shaking his head. He's watching over there.
But they said, "Hey, when Biden was running one last time, the bait was Kamala. I'm pronouncing her name. Kamala. The bait was her, right? Getting everybody excited because visually, Biden is old. He ain't probably not going to run a second term, so that was the bait. One last time, let's push it over. Once they saw what happened in South Carolina, it was excitement, right?
Right.
Get into office now, nothing. And people are just, they are not enthused about voting. They're not enthused. They don't want to hear it. They're already struggling. They've been struggling, and the things that's being said is not working.
I don't know that historically in the African American community, whoever's in office there has been a drastic change in people's daily lives. And that's really what it drills down to. Pete and I were talking last week, and I said to Pete last week, he was giving me some great philosophical analysis of the situation. I said, Pete, this is about gas prices. It's milk and eggs.
Yeah.
It's meat. It's my chicken wings at the wing house have gone up about 40%.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's where it is.
And you just don't, you just don't realize it. And the important part of this is federally wouldn't even affect us, but there is so much emphasis on that. But if people really drive down and really pay attention to the local electives, those people affect their everyday life. So if the local electives were on it, they would be making people excited. They would be trying to keep people informed. They would, just be there to make a difference.
Okay, so now we heard that. This is interesting. I'm trying, and I keep saying this to Pete. Pete, you are not really a Republican because you're saying exactly the same thing. Pete said last week, he was saying that, look, on a local level and with the local representative, he goes, basically, and I'll just say it, he kind of called out Kathy Castor saying, look, Ocasio-Cortez is on the TV every day fighting about something, pushing something relative to her district and the agenda for the people that she represents.
Yeah.
We never hear from Kathy Castor unless it's, I won't say it's a free meal. Somebody else said if there's a free meal, she shows up. I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying she shows up for the pictures and the banquets and that kind of stuff.
So, but that's part of her job. And I like Kathy, but I can tell the truth about people, right? So I think that a lot of times also, if I have an issue, and the issue is not about me, the issue is about something that's going on in the community that affects her. So I contact her. I have no problem with it, right? I think that's most people. The problem is the general engagement with the general community. I think that's the piece that's missing. So, but so if I am contacting Kathy and it's not about something personal for me, but it is to help the community and other people are doing the same, does it matter? I mean, and she does come into the community at times, not all the time, because from my understanding, a lot of times she's not here.
Correct.
So, but if she is, and that is, the work is still being done, and she's still, helping or pushing or something. So, does that really matter? That
well, I think a lot of it is about. It really comes down to perception. Right.
That's it.
And what you brought up was about this engagement with the community. I don't know that there's an excitement with the engagement in the community. I think that's going to pick up in the next, when we get into the new year, starting to get into election year. You got the midterms. You got several local elections that are going to be coming up. And I think that all kind of galvanizes. And I think at that time, you may see the voting dynamics change a little, because I think it's about a 4,000 vote difference. And I dug into it a little bit, because I had to get ready. I know where you're going to come from on this. I need to be ready. And what I found out is they've been purging Democrats off, putting them into inactive status. And I think they showed that about 59,000 Republicans were made inactive, 116,000 Democrats were made inactive.
So, but they purge all the time.
But who's purging? And then the criteria tends to lean one. There's certain things we can decide, and it'll catch more of one group versus another group. Now,
so does each supervisor election purge? So if each supervisor election purges, if what's our supervisor? Craig Latimer, if he purges it, because it comes from them,
right?
Then I would want to have a conversation with him and find out the correct statistics to that.
My understanding, it was done at the Secretary of State level for the state of Florida. Those numbers that they're reporting for the Republican Party, that's at the state level. And the biggest areas that seem to be losing voters is South Florida, Palm Beach, Broward, Miami-Dade. That's where the majority of the purging took place. And they frame it under the auspice of voter integrity. But as a community activist, I'm trying to find out what will be done, what can be done,
for those individuals that have been purged, just like they can be, if they can NAACP can get a purge list. We can get a purge list.
Right.
Contact those people and re-register them.
Right. Now they're not. They can vote now. They're just deemed inactive.
Yeah. So if they're inactive, they can't vote.
They can vote. All they have to do is show up. They're not deregistered. They're still registered voters.
So those are people that have not voted.
Exactly.
Okay. So they're
it doesn't mean that they can't vote. It's more, I think, symbolic. This whole report, and DeSantis is now on a campaign around the state, trumping this all over the place. It's more symbolic to say that you have more Republican voters. So we got a caller calling in. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Carl calling in.
Good morning, Carl. How you doing today? Now, are you listening to us on the radio? You watching us on Facebook? How are you getting the show this morning?
I was looking on Facebook because I just want to. I like to look at the facial expression that your guest be
having. Man, Carl, come clean. You want to see Robin? Tell the truth. Robin's on the show this morning. I announced Robin's on the show. You logged on Facebook, and now you want to get a glimpse.
Thank you, Carl.
Anyway, so politically, what's on your mind? I know you're still excited by Stacey Abrams up in Georgia. What's on your mind this morning, Carl?
Yeah, you guys will touch on the subject about the purge or whatever. Yeah, which Brian Kemp, what he did in Georgia, he purged the one in College Park, East Point, and then over there in Mechanicsville. All those are predominantly black, a majority black areas. So, which those guys did have a history of not voting or whatever. So, and that when he did that knocked down a lot of the voters, whatever that was eligible to vote.
Now, Carl, but let me hold on. But that doesn't prevent them from voting. If they want to vote, all they have to do is go back in, get their paperwork in order, and vote.
I think they have to re-register.
Re-register?
Yeah.
Right, but you think about that. And then you had the just them trying to get registered or whatever. A lot of guys don't know how the political system works.
Correct.
Got it.
So right. So but right. They were Stacey Abrams came in. They came in and she put the message out or whatever, and she just really got them really enthused about voting or whatever. Now the messages for the Democrats or whatever, they just don't seem like they're really fighting. You know, you want to have someone that represents you, and you want to see the work that they're putting in.
Yeah.
So if you don't see that work or whatever, because sometimes people just they lose interest in it.
Well, let me ask you this then, Carl. So is that a trickle down for the inability of Joe Biden to get the Build Back Better bill passed? Is that trickling down to local folks?
No, because half the people.
No, that goes to messaging. You know, so I mean, they just need someone to get that message out and get people to understand what is in that bill.
Correct.
Okay, you can say Build Back Better all day, but what am I getting out of this bill? Well, how does this bill benefit me?
Right. Absolutely, I agree.
You know, right. When I get to Build Back Better, Build Back Better say, are you building bigger buildings? Are you doing bigger? What is this? Like the gas pipe.
Right.
You know,
absolutely. Well, Carl, while I got you on the phone, let me get this from you because I know you have some Chicago roots also. Jesse Smollett.
You know what? I like Jesse Smollett. I like him.
The Jesse verdict. When you heard the verdict, what did you think?
I knew he was guilty. I mean, because a lot of stuff just had a lot of holes in it. You know, by him, you know, the guy has money. Why are you walking out to go get family when you can go get Uber Eats?
3 o'clock in the morning. It's like it's like 13 degrees.
Listen,
a man
no.
going to Subway.
So the bigger picture about Justice Smollett is how the police policed him, whether he is juicy or not. He's and that's the issue that I have with them, is how, you know, people do stupid things all the time. He's what, 23, 24 years old. So you know, hey, look. People go do stupid things all the time.
Carl, we want to thank you for calling in this morning. Keep listening and staying there with us. We're gonna talk
thank
about
you,
this.
Carl.
We're gonna talk about the Jesse Smollett situation a little bit more in depth when we got to take a break in a few minutes. And one of the things that that jumped out at me was that there was a lot of support for him in this incident because of the history in America of some of the things that have been done to black folks. And he took advantage of that. He left us in a very vulnerable place. And so we come back and want to talk about our credibility in the African American community, supporting people when they get into the, because we have to support them. It's just unfortunate this situation turned out the way that it is. So we're going to take a quick break. Come back and watch what we're going to do. We're actually going to take this break on time because I'm not going to keep talking like some other people do when our producer gives us the finger. You listen to In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everybody can be a star. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers on the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here-for-you.
Hello, Tampa Bay. This is Ainsley Doe with Florida Realty Unlimited. As a broker with 15 years experience and a veteran of the Navy, I do understand your needs. Real estate prices are up. So if you're thinking of selling your home, call me for a free market analysis. If you're planning to buy a home, please call me for a free buyer's consultation. For more information, call Ainsley Doe at 813-546-1954. Once again, the number is 813-546-1954. Or check my ad out in the In Touch You.
All right, we're back live here on In Touch News Radio, reality radio, everybody can be a star. This is Straight Up the Middle. And as I said when we started the show this morning, Pete is out today for a funeral. We want to wish him well in that regard, and we look forward to him coming back. But while he's gone, listen, we're going to cut loose a little bit. And I am so excited to have here in studio with me Robin Lockett from Florida Rising. I know you sit in for us all the time. Just remind everybody what you do with Florida Rising.
To fight on issues that concern them. We don't go into the community telling them what issues to fight on. So we go in, do listening tours, find out what the concern is, and we show them how to fight. I don't want to say the correct way, but the correct way.
An empowerment dynamic.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things I think people take for granted at the grassroots level because it seems like it's just happening, but it doesn't just happen. It happens because people are doing hard work. And I know a couple of weekends ago I was talking with you and you all were doing some community activities.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff were you all doing? And I think you had may have had a tour of some sort.
Oh, we during the pandemic we knocked on doors just to get a feel. We went out based on evictions. But what we found out that there was a lot of slumlords, and that's a big ordeal in the black community. Right now, we're working on a campaign with a senior apartment complex, very popular on 40th Street, River Pines Apartments.
Mm-hmm.
That place used to be the place you wanted to be when you retired. Right. Right now, they're struggling with mold, mildew, roach infestation, and these seniors are really pissed off and they're wanting to fight about it. It's housing authority, unfortunately.
Right.
But we did a countywide canvas a couple weeks ago where we pulled all of the people that were facing eviction. We pulled their information. Cindy Stewart helped us with that. She's the clerk of the circuit court. But we knocked on doors, providing those individuals with information because the information is not, the resources are not getting out.
Just briefly, but what can they do? Is this meaning they need to access money to get caught up on their rent?
Yes, there's different programs that's out that nobody knows about, right?
Yes.
Unfortunately, and they're not getting in the county commissioners or whoever is not getting the information
They're
out
not
to them.
marketing and telling people, come get this free
Everybody
money.
doesn't go on the website. Everybody don't know. Everybody don't own a computer.
And a lot of people are afraid of engaging their government.
Yeah.
They're intimidated by it. So the only
Yeah.
response or engagement they have with it. So now it's interesting because that has not a lot to do with voting and things of that nature. It's just general community empowerment.
Everything
Yeah.
ends up in voting.
It does. But so in this, do you all register voters too, or do you
We
not?
have I don't register voters, but we have a segment in our organization that does. So our plan this year is to register 100,000 new voters.
So we're going to take back the lead from the Republicans.
We should. I mean, that listen, they work hard. They work smarter, not harder. But so
Yes.
they got us on a downtime during the pandemic. And if they're playing with the numbers, then that's
Oh, absolutely. But the registration numbers aren't off.
Yeah.
I think they said that Democrats registered in the last quarter 12,000. They registered 10,000, but the numbers shifted almost like 60,000 in because of the inactive status that they placed people in.
It is so hard. Once upon a time, you would get a job like that, or they would find people to help register voters, right? I get phone call after phone call asking, do I know people that want to work? They're not, like the Democratic Party has this grassroots initiative right now, but they can't find workers. But why can't they find workers? Because they don't have a connection in the community.
Wow, outstanding. How can you not?
Exactly.
How can you not have that connectivity
Exactly.
in a community?
Exactly.
Well, I mean,
I know where all the workers are.
Well, exactly, right. You know, and I tell you one thing, Michelle Patty always has a crowd walking behind her wherever she is
Yeah,
going. So,
yeah.
You know, you say something interesting, and I'm gonna say this, and people just go ahead and get pissed at me, because I have my daughter is at Florida A&M University, and invariably, it's amazing the inability of Florida A&M University to execute basic stuff. Housing, class registration.
That's shameful, right?
Food service.
That's shameful.
And it's stunning. And I'll say this, and I can see it I can see it. I call it the tolerance of people who shouldn't be in a job.
Yeah.
They have the job. They've had it for a long time, but they tolerate this people who just cannot execute the basic function of their job. I was telling somebody the other week, in a football game,
At a sacrifice.
you've got the long snapper who hikes the ball to the holder, and then you have the kicker that kicks the ball, right? Those guys have very small margins of. They've got to execute those three things
very well
for that kick to happen.
Correct.
If that doesn't happen, it's got, you know, they got, and any one of them fall apart. It's one of those kind of things that it shouldn't be this case. And we just recently with FAMU, what was the word I want to use? And somebody really can't do a job. They're tolerating. I don't know what the word. Not being qualified, but you just can't do this. You don't have the skill set.
So
You just don't have it.
So that means that you're not qualified.
Well, that's different. A qualification is one thing. Executing what you're supposed to do is a second thing. Your inability to do, and I can't think of the word right now.
I think you said you don't have the skill set.
No, you have the skills. You just can't execute. That's the piece of getting the registration. I'm great at organizing. People are here on time. I know to put the schedule together. But the day of, you can't execute the registration. Why? You don't have the key pieces in place. You don't have the backups.
So
you're not staffed
you can follow
adequately.
instructions, but you can't create.
I think it's at the top. Because the people at the bottom were doing all they could to try to resolve problems. They just didn't have it. It was a bad system. The program was crappy. The computers were not up to snuff. And so you had various dormitories that wouldn't even show up for registration. And they were telling kids, well, we'll fix it in September.
And you know, the interesting thing about FAMU is that, you know, when it appears that they are going just up, something dumb like this
So I want to
happens.
say this, though, because the spirit on that campus is at an all-time high. My daughter is a completely new person since she hit that
that's good.
campus.
That's good.
The friends she's made. I'm so excited. I'm going to say this on the air.
Oh, that's good.
I plan to go back to school and get me a degree from FAMU, because I'm going to put that diploma on my wall, too.
Okay.
That's how excited we are about what her experience has been at FAMU. from the experience.
Oh, that's what, so it
but the
wasn't.
administration, my
So
goodness.
the parents is so your daughter is resilient because she's working through it, but the parents are frustrated.
She can work through it because we the ones over here fighting and making these phone calls and on hold on with 5 other parents but the feeling, the exhilaration, I can't. These kids seem so empowered,
Proud to
and
go to,
yeah,
yes.
and on that campus, that's intentional. That
Yeah.
they are building in these kids confidence and pride in who you are.
Yeah.
I said it's the first time that my daughter doesn't have to be black. She just gets to be who she is.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to be black. And I'll say that. At the same time, I'll say, my goodness, can a program start on time, though? Can we be in the room that is listed on the thing to say y'all going to meet in room 119? Can we actually be in that room?
I think that's great, though. I think that if I had it to do, because I haven't gotten my a degree. I'm not degree. But
Okay.
if I had the wherewithal, I would have gone. I always think it's interesting going to a black. I've always thought of it being interesting going to a black college. If my son was to, I would have tried to persuade him to go
Right.
To FAMU or go
she
to a black
she picked
college.
that school, and there's a groundswell now. My daughter, and she has I'll just say, listen, she is spectacular. She's a sharp kid. Came out with all kinds of accolades and GPAs and things of that nature, and awards and whatnot, and offers of scholarships, and she wasn't having it. She was going to FAMU.
But I think
She wasn't having it.
James Cole's daughter, did she go to FAMU?
I think she's at FAMU too.
I think that
so.
is great because even that young lady, she could have gone a lot
Yeah.
of places, and they are choosing.
Oh yeah, my
I love
daughter.
that.
I think there were like 4 or 5 black kids in the IB program. My daughter graduated from. 4 of those kids are at HBCUs, and there's Jack and Jill. We're Jack and Jill family. A number of those kids.
Just
across the
imagine,
board, going to
imagine
African-American
if the athletics.
schools. If those kids came too.
Just imagine.
But that's a
Because-
different issue.
yeah.
That's the economics that they're talking about. So anyway, so we left at the break, and I want to jump back into this Jesse Smouye thing because this may be important.
Are you pronouncing his name is
Jesse?
his name
Well,
is?
Dave Chappelle has messed me up. But Dave Chappelle calls him Juicy. But he called it pronounced Jesse Smouye. Anyway, the
His name
issue
is
for
Jesse.
Jesse. Smollett. The issue for me in this is the abuse of the support of the African American community. That's what's got me pissed off here. Is that he commandeered history of black people being discriminated against and the rally cry support that would come to that aid to benefit his career. That's to me the travesty in this. And we made it into something other than what it was, really. That's what's got me bothered, because there are real issues of discrimination and issues that happen, and we don't want to start out with having to question, whether or not this incident happened. We need to be focused our energy on what are we going to do about it. That's what's really got me upset.
So again, 20-year-old, 22-year-old.
He's 39.
No, he is not.
Yes, he is. Jesse, grown man.
No, he is not.
Jesse, good and grown.
No, he ain't no 39. He ain't no 39.
Jesse's good and grown.
He ain't no 39. And 39 in
I'm gonna ask our research department to look at if they could research that for us and get back to us.
39
and let us know.
in men years is different than 39 in women years. So y'all
Yeah.
still do some
Jesse
immature
is
thing.
not. He's not some youngster. He's a grown.
But again, able to make a mistake, should be able to recover from it. He didn't kill anybody. Resources were used. Heightened resources was because Chicago police chose to do that. All those killings, right, because of his stature. And we have to just take a moment just to think about that, right? Just suppose 2 people came in at the same time with the same incident. Who would have gotten the better treatment, the best cops? Jesse Smollett.
I think our research department has been reporting in that Jesse
Smollett
is 39.
Okay, he's 39.
He's good and grown.
So again, never been in trouble, but people are allowed to make a mistake and.
I agree with that. My question is, how do we in the black community deal with the credibility hit we take It's kind of like the Tawana Brawley situation all over again, where someone claims that this racially motivated incident happens.
Was that with Al
Sharpton? She claimed she was kidnapped for a couple of days, but in fact, reality, she was hanging out with a boyfriend.
He bounced back.
Not him, but I'm talking about the black community.
Oh, the black community.
That's really the thing, because you have real things like the Harlem situation. You have to get behind these things and it's hard enough. I think up in Georgia, I don't know how many, free lunches they served up there to keep those people there all day, but I'm sure somebody was putting money in that to keep people out for support. And that's my concern is the hit that we take when we get behind and for someone of his nature. What do you think should happen? He's going to be sentenced in, I guess, got to come back for sentencing.
Yeah, they said that he won't serve any time.
I want him in jail. I want him in jail.
No, you do not.
I do want him. I want him in jail.
No, you do
not.
not.
For long. Not for like
no,
10, 15 years.
No, you do not.
But yes,
no,
absolutely.
you do not.
Because this is completely unavoidable.
If this is the man's first time being in trouble, you do not want that man in jail, and you do not. And you're a black man too. You do not.
Listen, I'm one that I believe punishment works.
No, you do not want that man in jail.
I absolutely think if in this situation,
what's his name, Rittenhouse got off.
That's different.
No.
Here's the difference.
That whole thing was set up. No.
Here's the difference in Rittenhouse. We asked the jury to tell us what they think. And they told us.
But there's things that happen in there that
asked the jury to tell us what they think about Jesse.
So with all the wrong that's done to black folks and all the just everything that's done, he got to buy. I'm giving him a buy.
So in Sam, I'm gonna this is not even on our list of topics. How much time do I have? Not much, because I'm how much is not much? All right, man. Listen, we're gonna come back. Listen, I hate to do this to you, but I'm gonna have to do an old-fashioned Professor Trap and set the record straight. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about how do we address some crime issues in this country. Because you brought up something about him going to jail, and I think that's something that's worth exploring. In Touch News Radio, Reality Radio. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll come back and pick it up from there.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-7425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, push your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Hi, this is Angela Birdsong with Tampa Bay Politics. And not only can you catch us on InTouchNews.com every Wednesday at 11 a.m., we now have a website at TampaBayPoliticsPodcast.com. We are on Apple, Google, Spotify, and Stitcher, which you can log in at any time and listen to Tampa Bay Politics.
You've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the law office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview. All right, we're back live on InTouch News Radio, Reality Radio, where everybody can be a star. If you were just listening in, we were just talking about the Jussie Smollett.
Jussie Smollett.
I'm trying to get it right. I like Bill and Mike and James. I can get those names right. But here co-hosting with me today is Robin Lockett from Florida Rising. She's sitting in for Pete Edwards. And clearly you can see it's our conversation's got to deviate a little bit. So one of the things that now we're talking about out of the Justice Smollett is the punishment. What would be fair punishment for this crime? And let me give a little background about some stuff, because the first prosecutor decided to not prosecute him, and then they brought in a special prosecutor to come in and take a look at the actual facts and whatnot. And that person came in and said, no. This rises to a false crime report. We're going to prosecute him and let the citizens who sit as a jury decide should there be punishment or not. Is he guilty? Is he not? That's kind of how we end up. First prosecutor said, nah, we won't prosecute it. Special prosecutor comes in. Very similar to what happened with Ahmaud Arbery. First prosecutor says, nah, we're not prosecuting.
Different. They were trying
They
to
bring
help
in a
cover
new
stuff.
No different than they tried to help Jesse
How?
by not prosecuting him.
No, but no. So the prosecutor with the Ahmaud Arbery, she's going on trial.
And that we're not there yet. You got to let this thing play out a little bit. And that may come up to be the situation here, ultimately, because of the egregiousness of the lack of prosecution. Now, we've prosecuted him now. He's been found guilty. We're trying to you say.
So under the law, they said that he'll get probation. He wouldn't spend, there's no jail time. He could get his jail time outlined, but first offender, so they take all those things in consideration. So he gets probation and community service.
I thought he was looking at maximum, like 3 years max. If you put all of.
Yeah, he can get 3 years, but they're talking to the scholars or whatever, and they're saying he would get, he wouldn't serve any time.
Now, criminal law is not my thing. Let me ask you, though, so you don't think that you mentioned something to me that I'm out, my ears always perk when people call me a black man. Mm-hmm. You know, I was accused of being a black man earlier in reference to me saying I wanted him to go to jail.
No, so I think that with all of the things that are held against you, the opportunity for a black man not to be that statistic in prison would be a plus. And if he didn't kill anybody, mm-hmm. he didn't rob. You know, he didn't. Yeah. There was no foul. Other than the police.
He has hurt something. He has hurt the credibility of real people who are really discriminated against when they file complaints.
No, that's not. No, he hasn't.
Absolutely.
His one incident. No, he has
not.
I
was watching I stay up late at night, and I was watching a show called Secrets from Unknown Things from World War II. And this happened in World War II when the Americans invaded Normandy. All the heroes that climbed up over the walls. What started happening was the French women started getting raped by American soldiers also. Mm. And when Eisenhower found out about it, he had 2 men arrested, and he called for a public execution. He wanted them lined up, and he made other soldiers shoot them to stop it. And it did. That public execution got everybody back focused on what they're really there to do. And they executed those 2. That's what I'm worried about with Justice Smollett. I don't want people around America thinking, while we're really fighting real issues of discrimination and equality and fairness and equity in America, we have time to put up with you for some personal gain of your own, making false claims.
What was the gain?
For him?
Yeah.
Well, he was trying to leverage his negotiations with the show. That's really what they came out and said. He had an issue with the show. And that's why he put this whole thing together.
So let's go with facts versus opinions. So did the show say that?
No, I don't know.
So a lot of times, so people are spinning narratives about this whole situation, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So it could have been he may have an impulse that he impulsively decided to do something like this, and it got out of hand, or you just don't know. Didn't think that he would probably planned it, and didn't think they were
elaborate plan.
But he is elaborate. Not the he would so ruining this guy would not make other people or not make the community. The black community is resilient. We just move forward. Okay, talk noise about him, and we move forward.
So here's why, and let's move. I got a couple other things I got to get to. I'm going to just say it this way. The black community cannot move forward without the greater community. And the greater community is already suspicious I was shocked yesterday. I had a guy for the first time say to me, I get this issue with Make America Great Again, because he said it to me. He goes to me, white guy, there are a lot of white people that would like to go back to a time when things were better. It would be better for everybody. I said, not for black people, though. I said, it has never been better. It has never been a better time to be black than it is now.
So even research, even listening to that, was he talking about when factories were open and everybody had jobs, or because we can't, don't experience
what he was saying
that.
to me was there was a time when in the white community there was a better free-for-all of whatever it is, jobs, opportunity, education. We didn't have to worry about ownership, hotel rooms, restaurant seats. When we didn't have to share seats with black folks, we get any seat we wanted. Now we come there, we got to wait. Because everybody's in here now. Before, we didn't have to have that. There was always a room at the hotel. And it was interesting when I said, yeah, but not for black folks. It's never been better than now. And guess what? If we can get some more rights, it's going to get even better. All right, so I done dug into that as much as I can. We really need to talk
Freeze
about
Justice Smollett.
Goodness, you are. All right, then. Listen. All right, so let's move on to something I think that is just eating me up, and that is Joe Biden's bad numbers, his approval rating.
He ain't Obama.
How does he get that up?
I mean, the unfortunate thing is not. So I think the plans and the bills that he wants to have passed, I think that the Republicans are playing them, right? They're in somebody's ear because he can't get it, even with the 50, he can't get those passed because of, now if those things were being passed, he would be in great shape.
I think they're playing it all wrong.
Who?
But politics is rough and tumble. Joe Biden is too nice. He needs to go to Manchin. Listen, you SOB.
You don't think he's done that?
No, he hadn't done that.
I think he has
I don't
done
think
that.
You know why? Because if he really did it like he should do it, he should go to Joe Manchin. Say, Joe, I'm shutting down every coal factory over there in West Virginia. I'm shutting down everything federal that we can move out. Every postage plant, everything in your state that generates support, we're going to shut it all. You ain't getting nothing over there, not one little thing, unless you vote for this.
So does Joe Manchin wait out 2 years for the shift to change? And when they're projecting that the Republicans are going to take over, and then he's going to
I think Joe Manchin is going to ride that out.
Yeah.
And when the Republicans come in, he's going to announce, I'm now a Republican.
Yeah.
And they're going to give him what he is asking for.
Because he's held back. Yeah.
He's really doing their bidding in this situation. And my thoughts would be they've got to make it so untenable in West Virginia for Joe with the people of West Virginia. That's what they've got to make it. They've got to make it really
That's
unpleasant.
why this election with Val Demings, they're putting a lot in there because she would replace Marco Rubio. And they're looking to get at least 2 more Democrats, putting all their resources behind it. I can't think of the other guy's name. But they're looking to put 2 more Democrats in there to offset, what he's doing.
Now, Val Demings is running for
Congress
in the Senate. She's for Senate.
Right, Senate.
Not Congress. She's running to be a senator.
Right.
And she's running against Rubio.
Correct.
I don't think Rubio's heart's in rerunning. He didn't want to run this time. You know what I mean? One of the things it takes in when you're running an election is you have to be all in. And he really didn't want to run. They said, look, we need you in Florida. They begged him.
Why didn't he?
I don't know, but he had announced he was not going to run. He's figured out, he's the small kids and a family. I don't know. But be that as it may, if she gets in office, which of course depends on this voter registration situation, we got to get that worked out.
People just have to. I mean,
it's all tied together.
Yeah.
That's all. But going back to Joe Biden, he needs something to boost the energy level in his campaign, and they've done something crazy. They've neutralized Kamala.
Oh, but you didn't expect for them to? I knew they were.
Now
she was bait.
Well, by this aura of confusion in her office, people resigning and things of that nature, it looks like her office is in disarray. That leads her to look ineffective, and now she doesn't bring any positive support and backing.
Yeah.
So let's do this. We got this caller calling in. Listen, caller, we got to take a quick break. I want you to hold on, and when we come back out of the break, we're going to bring you on live, and we'll get you involved in the discussion. This is In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everybody can be a star. We will be right back after this commercial break.
I knew when they were.
Cancer affects everyone, but minority populations are often hit hardest. Moffitt Cancer Center is working to address the barriers that keep some groups from getting the care they need. African Americans develop cancer at a younger age, have more aggressive cancers, and experience worse outcomes than the general population.
While cancer treatment is evolving with precision medicine, who is being left behind? We know for many decades that some groups experience a greater burden of cancer than others. We can prevent it, we can detect it early. It's very beatable when we find it early. I have worked with cancer patients during their treatment. All cancer patients have courage.
So my treatment was about 18 months. I had 3 cancers and 7 surgeries. But my son told me, like, Mom, you're the strongest person that I know. Moffitt saved my life.
During COVID-19, Moffitt is a safe place for your cancer care. Call now to schedule an appointment.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everybody can be a star. All right, so we're going into our last segment here. We had a caller calling at the last minute. We're talking about Joe Biden's low approval rating and what can be done to save the rest of this 4 years and maybe launch the next one. But caller, state your name and where you're calling from.
I was calling back in. My comment is that Trump had a big lie, whatever. He didn't get prosecuted, so Justice Smollett shouldn't get prosecuted.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Carl. Now, that's something everybody can understand. When you mention Trump, that's something that everyone can understand. So thank you, Carl.
Is that it?
And his is a felony.
That was it. That was a mic drop.
His is a felony, so thank you.
That's Carl the trucker. You should have been a horn blow, but we'll let that go. Thank you, Carl, for calling in and listening. So I get the sensitivity to that. So, but Joe Biden, there needs to be something to shake up his administration right now. New chief of staff, maybe, new spokesperson. He's got to bring a new face in.
They're just like he's just like the Democratic Party. So even with that Build Back Better bill, if you ask anybody on the street, ask 10 people.
What's in it? What's it do for me?
Nobody
How does it help me?
No one would know.
So nobody's calling anybody's office demanding that thing get passed immediately, any of that kind of stuff.
Nobody, because nobody knows. They just know that it's stalled, but nobody knows. So business people know because they're looking for the business.
Right,
but the
right.
average person,
Right.
they have no clue in regards to what's in it.
I do think the messaging has been off, but I think the success, what we wanted was, we wanted boredom after Trump. We wanted some boredom. We didn't want intrigue at the palace. We didn't want the crazy sound bites, the tweets in the middle of the night. We wanted some boredom. Now we got it. We wanted things back, calm and secure and safe.
We wanted action. Whatever.
We just wanted calm. We wanted stability, calm. We wanted an adult driving the bus.
We wanted something new. I don't want to go back, and it appears that we're going back. Right?
When you say go back to what? Go
back to anything, how everything was. I think that the pandemic, I think getting rid of Trump, I think the enthusiasm about that. The Democratic Party had an opportunity, or they made an opportunity to talk about hate the whole entire time, right? Let's get him out. We hate him. We want him gone, right? So, but there was no substance around what really Joe Biden was going to do.
So it was clear that the voting split reflected that people were voting Trump out.
Correct.
And Republican ideas in the Senate and in the House, because both gained seats.
Correct.
Only place that they didn't was where Trump stuck his foot in again was Georgia.
Correct.
And then those 2 senators lost as well.
Correct.
So we basically have that now, and there's this aura that's not known. Like usually you want stuff till you get it. But I think if I'm running Joe's camp, Joe's administration, Kamala can't go anywhere. That would be a travesty to get rid of her. Joe's not going anywhere. That would be even worse because they will beat her into the ground. They've got to move some other people around to create some dynamic. They've got to, I say, change your chief of staff.
Who's his chief of staff?
I don't even know. How about that? That's how boring it is. Because you don't even hear them. They don't do anything. You know, I know who to pass. Mark Meadows. I know, General Milley or whoever it was. Anyway, I just say that that's really one. If it were me, I would probably change my chief of staff, bring in a little bit more dynamic energy, somebody who maybe look to get in a safe Democratic state, one of your more popular senators to come over and become a chief of staff that has relationships back in the Senate, maybe want somebody over in the House of Representatives, bring them in so that their governor can replace with the Democrats. We don't lose anyone. And now we have an insider, so to speak, at the White House, in the Capitol. I just made that up while we're talking anyway. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it just works
Creative,
though. But it
creative,
works though
creative.
because you need someone who can inject some energy and people can get excited about.
So no one can get excited. No one can get excited about Joe Biden and what he's doing. If he's passing policies, and there wouldn't be a need to get excited. You would be excited about
Like, for
that.
example, I don't hear anything about any judicial candidates being appointed, any federal judges, those kinds of things.
Didn't Trump? Did he reach all of them?
But no, those people. There's always openings coming and going. There's they're always openings.
Oh shit!
No, there are always people. That and now this is what's going to happen, and our engineer showed us something. Kamala's doing that on her staff. That's why people are leaving. See, she's bringing in new blood. She's like, okay,
so
this ain't
she's
going.
not,
This ain't going the way I thought it was
you
going
see
to go.
the narrative that they're creating?
I know they are, but her look, this ain't going the way I wanted to go. I'm gonna get some new people in here.
Because that person, Karine, she was part of his media.
On media team.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
She just may have became that for
okay.
politics. But anyway, but you follow me though?
Yeah.
Kamala's like, hey, look, I'm not getting where I need to be. I'm getting beat up. This thing ain't working. I'm gonna bring in some new people. I'm gonna revamp my staff.
She's vice.
Right. Exactly. I think that's what Biden probably needs to do.
Yeah.
I think
So you notice everyone that he appointed is near his age.
Yeah, they're older. Yeah, he did not go with a generational movement.
Not at all.
But I would expect people to do what's comfortable for them, though. I expect people to do.
But if you're on the out in the world and so forth, and you're saying, hey, I look forward to being progressive. I can be progressive in order to get the progressive vote, whatever progressive means, because it means different things to different people. But and you're not doing that.
Here's what he doesn't do, and Trump was very brilliant at this. He needs somebody who's willing to get up in the morning at 4:30 and write a crazy tweet. Right? Because that forces the news at the beginning of the day. See it when everybody get up and turn their news on. What do they get to talk? They got to talk about what came from the president's office.
Yeah.
See, that's what Trump did.
Yeah.
He forced them to talk about Trump to open up everybody's day. Not what you want to talk about, not to strategize and line it up. And you had to deal with, and they're not appreciating how powerful messaging through Twitter, social media, all that is about setting the daily discussion.
Yeah.
They're waiting till 2:00 in the afternoon to run out with a Jen Psaki and Psaki.
Redhead, yeah.
I'm already set my mind on what today was about.
Yeah.
And by the time you get your blips out, the next time I lock in on news, it's like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening.
See, they put their hat on integrity, being honest.
You can be honest and exciting.
But so I'm just saying that they with that, and they're bringing that back to normalcy. they think that the news is going to be excited about it because they, are going to push it because that's what they're bringing, not all the crazy stuff.
And that's where I think the age issue comes up.
It's age, yeah.
I'll tell you, I've got some elderly neighbors in their 80s, and I go over sometimes, visit them, check on them, whatnot.
Oh, you're such a good neighbor.
Well, I'm just, I live in an older community. Everybody there, I'm the age of their kids. They're and their grandkids. They're old. I mean, some old folks. I mean, old. You go over and talk to them like people that don't have computers.
Oh, wow.
People that have flip phones. And I go over and talk to them, and I'm stunned sometimes at the stuff they're talking about, because it has no connection to what's really going on in the world today. It has, zero connection. Right, and so my concern for Biden is if you got these old people, they're not going to appreciate how impactful certain things are, like Twitter. They're thinking the best thing we can do is have a nice professional news conference at 2:30.
Correct.
And they'll think well of us. No, by then people have made their mind up what the day is about. So you want breaking news at 6 o'clock. When I click that thing at 6 in the morning, and I'm out riding my bike or exercising, and I start the news. So this morning, tweet came in from the president's office. You won't believe this one, Sally. And then they start talking about it,
You need people in his staff. He needs somebody that's 25.
Yeah, they're too professional.
Yeah, he needs somebody that, because you have to reach all people.
You need some characters.
Yeah.
Like Nick said, I can't even name people in his administration.
Yeah.
You need some spicers, and what was the other guy that came and went like in 10 days as speaker?
Well, that creates chaos, though.
But
what
the guy's name was? Mooch. That just creates a tension.
But yeah, but that still that shows instability. That shows chaos. But he just needs some solid people that's gonna keep him.
These people are boring.
No,
he
not
needs excitement.
Boring. Yeah, correct.
He needs energetic, enthusiastic,
exciting, solid people.
Cutting edge.
Yeah.
He needs people on the cutting edge or whatever it may be. And he, like right now, he looks like an 80-year-old guy sitting there, waiting to be told which door to walk out of.
Walking slow. But, it proves also the power that he doesn't have, because he couldn't move Manchin or Westernang. He doesn't have that power.
Right. Semina. She ain't did nothing the whole time she was there. Suddenly she's a pivotal person.
Yeah.
Dug in.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is he doesn't know who can move that person.
Yeah.
I've gotten calls from politicians on occasion about stuff, and it's like, no, I don't think so. No. And then my phone will ring with somebody else. Hey, Clint, this so-and-so. Yeah, listen, I need a favor. What? So-and-so needs some help with such and such and such. Can we count on you? Well, I hadn't thought about it that way. Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Mm-hmm. But you got to know who the people are that can move Joe Manchin's needle, and they need to get down to West Virginia and talk to some of those folks and make a difference. So I want to thank you, Robin, for coming in this morning, sitting in with us. Closing comments, things people should be looking forward to coming from Florida Rising, and or looking for coming up in the next week or so as we go into the holidays.
First, thank you, Clint, for inviting me.
You're very welcome.
Pete, I enjoy keeping your seat warm anytime. Florida Rising, we are pushing housing again. We're looking forward to having some ordinances created. Orlando Goose has opened up a conversation about rent stabilization.
Oh, goodness.
For all of these landlords that are slumlords. Louis Vieira has opened
and these are local city council members, city of Tampa.
Local city council.
Okay.
So that's how everyday things affect them, and that's how it gets moved, the community, right? So he's looking at, we're having conversations with him about a complaint registry for slum landlords. And, I think that there should be some type of tie to the local license that they have. How many complaints they get, and when they go to renew their license here locally to do business in Tampa,
right,
that there's something comes up that they have to answer to those
complaints. And some kind of inspection maybe that goes along with that. Correct. Outstanding, though.
So, well, but yeah, we're still working on housing, and but thank you again for the invite.
Absolutely, appreciate you sitting in with us. I appreciate all the listeners, watchers, also on Facebook and on In Touch News. Stay tuned to the station, and throughout your week, tune in to In Touch News. We have all kind of media opportunities for people to be informed and know what's happening in their community. In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everybody can be a star. Thank you very much, and have a great weekend, everybody.